I don't know about you, but doom scrolling has taken over my life. But that has all changed because I've bought an Xteink X4 slim, ultra-thin magnetic back e-reader device from China, of course. And this thing has stopped my doom scrolling, and mentally, I feel better. I've only had it a day, right? But this thing, I highly recommend it. I've got some tips and tricks. I've only had it a day, so bear with me, but if you've seen this doing the rounds on Reddit or anywhere, you might want to stick around. Even though this isn't a typical gaming video, it's a tinkerer's dream, kind of. Maybe you can play games on it. I don't know if it runs Doom, but I am reading a gaming book. So here is my video about the Xteink, I'm assuming that's how you say it, X4 ultra thin magnetic e-reader. I love it.
You fat bastard.
So the first thing to say about this is just how, ultra thin it is. Now, I have a Kindle, and when I was looking into getting back into reading, I've tried physical books. I find them too heavy and awkward. If you're in bed on a night and you want to use them with one hand, it just doesn't work. Maybe I'm just weak and limp-wristed. But if you have a book, do I have a book? Let me get a book for you and explain. Right, so I picked a small book. This is The Stone Cold Truth by Stone Cold Steve Austin, my favourite wrestler of all time. Foreword by Jim Ross. With Jim Ross. I think Jim Ross wrote it. Anyway, if I was reading this in bed, I would I'd have to use two hands. And I'm not digging that. When I'm lying on my back, I'm not about that. And the amount of times a book has fallen on my head and the spine has cracked me in the schnoz, I've lost count. That's why it's bent sideways. Not really. I've been headbutted twice in my life. You don't need to do it for a third time as much as you wish. I've tried one of them things as well that I got on maybe AliExpress. It's like a weird shaped thing with a hole that you put your finger in. It's meant to keep the pages open. It doesn't work. It's a con. I can't read with one hand unless you're going like this and then you get strain on your pinky finger. That's your pinky, isn't it? Yeah. So I wanted to get back into the old e-reading game. Now, I do have a Kindle, and I'll get that in a moment. Right, it took me a while to find that because my daughter's been reading on it. Goosebumps, even though she just gets bored after a page. Little plug for myself there. So, this is okay, but it's quite heavy, right? It's I wouldn't say it's top heavy, but when you hold it at the sort of bottom, it kind of is, and you have to, if you want to go back a page with one hand, you have to reach. And I just don't find it it's just not the one for me, personally. I know you can get different shapes and sizes. This isn't a Paperwhite or anything. It's just a standard backlit Kindle. I bought it on Vinted and the seller said it was Paperwhite, but it wasn't. I kind of got scammed, but whatever. I just don't think she realised. Unless she's diddled me. So with this one, I thought, it's too heavy, it's too bulky. I can't whack that in my pocket without looking like a div. So I've been on the lookout for an e-reader that was similar in size to a phone. Now, that's another thing I'll have to get, so bear with me. In fact, I've realised that I can't. So my phone's filming the top-down view. So that's a bit awkward, isn't it? But I do have a picture of this attached to my phone. But anyway, it's a similar size to a phone in that it's portrait orientated, and it fits in the hand like thus. I've got, I'd say, medium to large size hands. Make of that what you will. It's kind of like a deck of cards is this, which I don't have to hand because I don't really play cards. But I will go get one because I know my family do. Bear with. Okay, so I've got two items in the most prepared video in the world. One is a card holder wallet that you would put debit card, driving license, and one is an empty pack of cards. I don't know where the cards are. So for starters, the card holder, it's pretty much the same size. It's a little bit taller, slightly thinner, but they weigh pretty much the same. It weighs next to nothing. My weighing scales out here. I'm not getting them, they're downstairs. Playing card wise, a little bit taller, quite a bit. Width wise, pretty much the same, and it's a lot thinner, right? Card holder, similar. So it's a great weight. It's not a burden on the hands at all. And it's not a touch screen. It's all physical. Now, it's e-ink. Of course, it's e-ink. But what I like about it is the fact that it's not touchscreen, because on the Kindle, I found myself knocking it, then you'd skip a page and go back. It'd ruin your reading stats. I wasn't keen on that. It's got physical buttons here. Now, it looks like there's only 2, but it's one of them where you can press the left and right on each button. So realistically, there's 4 on the bottom. What I have here is a screensaver. I'll get to that in a moment, and I'll tell you where you can download a plethora of cool-looking screensavers for yourself. First and foremost, I ordered this on May 28th, and it arrived yesterday as we record, June 5th. So it took just over a week to arrive. That's to the UK. I can't speak for any other countries, but from China to the UK, it took a few days to get an update on the shipping. I used the shop app, but it came, I think I ordered it about 7 o'clock at night on May 28th, and it came yesterday morning. So what, 8 days, I think that is, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 8 days, just over a week. And I ordered all the accessories, as I do as a tinkerer. I know you probably do when you're ordering game consoles. You order a screen protector, you order a case, you order a fancy grip, all this nonsense that we think we need, and in some situations we do. For example, I've got a Thor coming, but I haven't ordered any extras, despite what my good friend Backlog or Bin, which is a brand new gaming channel mentioned on Joey's Retro Handhelds, by the way, check that out. The guy that runs that, I'm in the Old Man Gamers Discord with him, and he's trying to sell me or upsell me all these accessories for the Thor. I want to have it in my cold dead hands first and have it not nicked by the postman before I buy anything. That's a different story. So I ordered the X4. You can get the X3. I don't know what the major differences are. Neither of them are backlit, but this is obviously the newer model. This is the X4 Developer Edition. Now, I ordered it directly from Xteink's website as opposed to AliExpress. You can get it cheaper on AliExpress. You can also get it on Amazon. But the website says that the ones off AliExpress are locked, so you can't add custom firmware. Don't know if that's accurate. Someone said on Reddit that ordered one on Amazon and they could do custom firmware. Some people say there's a Wi-Fi exploit, whatever. I like to support my independent Chinese companies, all right? I like to pay into the system. Anyway. So I bought the X4. This is I think it's called the Mist Grey version. I would pretty much call it white, but it's, it's Mist Grey, whatever. Mist Grey, and I ordered a screen protector, which you probably can't see. It's very thin. I found it easy to apply, but a screen protector, just in case, you know what I mean? And then I ordered a case from the website. This is called Forest Green. I'm crap with colours. I'm pretty bad red-green colourblind. Forget what it's called. So it just looks dark to me. But yeah, that's Forest Green. And that's the name of a football club, actually. And I thought, the grey/white and green would be a good combo. It's magnetic. Now, on the back of this, there is some kind of MagSafe thing. So you can attach it to the back of your phone. However, let's say this is my phone and that's the back MagSafe. It doesn't fit that way on mine, which is a iPhone 15 Pro Max. It doesn't fit that way, but it fits that way, which just looks weird. Looks like some kind of heathen symbol. So what you can do is you can buy these spare parts. This is my box here. You can buy these spare parts, which you can drop on the floor. In white and black, you get a pack of, I think, 6, and these are MagSafe strips, so you peel it off and you can attach it to the back of your device if you wish. What I've done is, because I want to keep it in the case, so it magnetically attaches to the case. That shuts. What I've done is I lined up on the back of my iPhone one of these stickers. So put the magnet down so it's perfectly flush with the MagSafe circle, peel the sticker off, put your case on as you wish, and I'll put a picture up on the screen here that it perfectly sits on my iPhone 15 Pro Max on the back. It's not the strongest magnet in the world. It might fall off if you shake it, but don't go shaking it. Do you know what I mean? It's like when someone says, it hurts when I do this, don't do it then. It's one of them. So yeah, I've just done that, and do you know what? This little thing, I'm just in love with it. Screensaver-wise, I could put a link to this website. Maybe I'll put an overlay on here. They have to be in BMP, Bravo Mike Papa format. I'd never heard of that before. I tried putting a PNG on there and it wasn't working, and I didn't know why. Now, when you get your device, you're going to have the stock OS, the stock firmware, which based on Reddit research, is pretty poor. I didn't even give it a chance. The first thing I did was take out the Xteink SD card, which was 32 gig, which is, pretty generous, I guess. For books, I mean, they don't take up much room. It's not like a game. Xteink, don't know if that'll focus on the above phone camera, but it's 32 gig. Now, as a rule of thumb, I generally always replace my stock SD cards on these devices because they're just prone to failure. So I've got in there 128 gigabyte SD card. You know the Nintendo ones, the Mario ones? I've got one of them in randomly, a SanDisk. So that's in there. And then if you go to one of the custom firmware sites, so there's three big ones, right? There's Crosspoint, there's Xteink, which is like a fork of Crosspoint, and then there's V-Codex, I think. V-Codex, I believe it's called. I went for Xteink. Based on my own research, I figured that seems the best, and that's what I whacked on there. It's just a case of plugging in your device, going to the website, downloading the correct file. There's, I think, 4 versions of the Xteink. You've got teensy, tiny, extra large, and no emoji or something. I went for the tiny because the text is like font 12 or something. But yeah, that's personal preference. I've not tried them all. But basically, when you get your device, this is in sleep mode right now. And again, this is a custom screensaver. If you've got a book with a cover, you can set it so that it has the cover on a display, just like it would be on a Kindle. The book I'm reading, which is Dungeon Crawler Carl, which, chef's kiss, by the way, if you're a gamer, it's a lit RPG. Basically, this guy called Carl, the world kind of ends, but he's still alive along with all these millions of people. And the world turns into a massive dungeon of 18 levels, and he has to get through the levels. He has to collect loot, kill enemies. He has XP. It's a great book. If you're trying to get back into reading and you're a gamer, I highly recommend Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I think there's 7 books in the series. I'm loving it, mate. I'm absolutely loving it. So anyway, you got these physical buttons on the side. Oh, by the way, this case, when it opened, I thought it would be a flap situation. So it would flap like that while you're reading. But it actually attaches magnetically to the back. So there's no flappage, which is great. So you've got basically a sleep/wake button here, the kind of power button. You've got an up and down button here, and you've got your 4 physical buttons here. So I'm using Xteink 1.3.1, I think. But I'm just going to wake the device up, holding that power button, and it's going to Xteink boot in 1.3.1 tiny is the software I've got. So I'm in a book at the moment. And when you just want to sleep it, again, you just hold the button, goes to sleep, and it opens up your wallpaper. So if you want to get back to the main menu, I'll just show you briefly some of the stuff this thing can do, because I'm in love with it. I am. I've only had it a day, and I'm in love with it. Now, I'm pretty undiagnosed ADHD, so maybe in 3 weeks I won't like it, but right now I'm obsessed with it. You got your back button here, just hold that, and you go back, and then you've got your options here, home, open, up, down. It's a bit fiddly to get used to the navigation because you're pressing right and left to go up and down. It just feels weird. But here's your sort of home screen on Xteink. Battery, by the way, is class. I've been reading this for ages and the battery's only gone down about 4% after all the tinkering, which was using more battery, clicking in and clicking out and stuff. So you've got browse files, which is just any books that you have in EPUB format I choose. The sleep is just the cover art that you see, the BMP file, the wallpaper. So you can put loads in there and it'll be a rotating carousel randomly whenever you close it. I've just got the one. So we'll go back and you've got recent books. I've only got one book on here, but that would show you recent reads. And then you've got, which is a great feature, which isn't, I believe, on the stock, which is reading stats. So you go in there, and so this has got the book I'm currently reading, Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I've had 14 sessions, which means I've opened and read on the device 14 times. 2.5 hours reading time. That's since pretty much yesterday lunchtime. 370 pages turned. I think back and forth classes as a page turn, so it's not like I've read 370. Maybe it is. I don't know. But my average reading pace is 2.4 pages per minute, and then 10 minutes per average session. So this shows that I'm just dipping in and out every now and again, rather than sitting down and thinking, I'll read for half an hour, I'll read for an hour, which can be quite daunting in this day and age. But what I'm doing is, just had a baby, she's like 3-month-old. Whenever I'm feeding her or burping her, normally I'd whack YouTube on or go on my phone. Instead, I'm just getting this out and reading for 10-15 minutes, putting it down. If I get a spare 10 minutes, I'll read it. And it's 2.5 hours there saved from doom scrolling. I mean, I've tried making my phone minimal. I've tried going monochrome mode, grayscale. I've tried deleting apps, removing apps. There's always a workaround though. But with this, pretty much all it does is let you read. And because it's like holding a phone, it's as if you're just reading Reddit or any social media. And that's why I wanted this form factor, personally, because it's so familiar with what we already know, but it's good for you. So we'll go back, and if you want to do file transfer, you'll click in here, click in there, and then you've got a few options. The one I did was join a network, which is the top. So you join the network, select your Wi-Fi, log into your Wi-Fi, and then it'll give you a HTTP address, which is basically http://, then your IP address. So while you're on join a network, on a browser, you go into there, and that's where you can upload files like EPUB files or background images for your wallpaper. You can upload them in there. When you upload an EPUB file, there's an option to optimize it, because this is a pretty weird screen layout. It's something like 800 by 400 or something. I forget the specific dimensions, but you can optimize it on that connection. I used a third-party one, which just gives you a bit more control, so you can control what percentage compression of the JPEG images or loads of different stuff you could sort of manage manually on a third-party website. But it is easy. You don't have to plug it into your computer or anything. You just join the network. And that's about it for adding books and reading books. But we'll get to the buttons when you're reading, because it's very customizable with this custom firmware. Settings-wise is where all the magic happens. So we go in the settings, and you've got 4 tabs at the top. First one is display, and this is where you can change your wallpaper. So your sleep screen. I've got it to custom at the minute, which is any images that you have on the device. If you press toggle, which is this button, you can do cover, which is if there's a cover for the book, it'll load that. You can do none, so it's just blank, I guess. You can do cover and custom. I guess that means it'll show the cover, but if it doesn't have a cover, it'll use your custom art. And then you've got page overlay, which is just the last page you were reading. And then your reading stats. And you have minimal, quick resume, dark, and light. So let's just go, for example, reading stats, and then we'll shut the device. And then that's the sleep mode now. That's my wallpaper. And again, just hold the button to wake it back up. But I do quite like the old custom wallpaper. So I'm going to set that before I forget. Custom. There we go. You also have cover mode, so you can make the cover fit or you can crop it. Cover filter, this is a key one. If you do have an image like the one I've got, sometimes because it's e-ink, you can get ghosting from the last screen you're on, like the home screen. So it can be set to none, but that sometimes leaves, you might see these tabs at the bottom behind your cover very faintly. So the advice I heard was to put it on contrast, which basically gets rid of it. Inverted basically means it'd be that way around, as far as I'm aware. Just double check. Oh, it's inverted the black and white, basically. So it's not inverted upside down. I don't like that. So yeah, but you can play around with a lot of this stuff. I've only done little bits because I don't want to be too much tinkering. I've got this thing to read, not to mess around with. So we'll go to the changes on there. I'm going to change that back to contrast. Quick resume on timeout. I think that just means you get straight back into your book. I don't really know. And then you've got the reader. This is where you can customize everything. So you can change your font in here. Your font family, the font size, the line spacing. You can download fonts, I believe. And then you can do your page layout. So the current orientation is portrait, which means as I hold it like this, it's going to be this way around. Now you can have it so that it's landscape, which looks like going to look like that. There you go. You can hold it sideways if you wish. I absolutely hate that personally. Hold it back. But one thing I do sometimes utilize is because when you're reading this in normal mode, I'll change it back. When you're reading this in portrait, the controls are pretty simple. So you can use either these two buttons here, which is forward and back. So you've got next page and back. Or you can use the side buttons, which the down one being next page, the top one being back, right? But that's okay if you're holding it with your left hand. If I'm holding baby with this hand, with my right hand, I am right-handed, but if I hold it with my left hand, that's fine. But if I want to hold it with my right hand, I have to either awkwardly do this with my thumb or hold it like this, which can ache your little finger. So what you can do is hold the back button, takes you back. This is a really, really good tip, if I do say so myself, is you can change the page layout to inverted. And then what happens is you open it, boom shakalaka, and then you've got your buttons on this side, but the buttons remain the same. So the top one is now next page and the bottom one is now back, because it's the same as this. It's just the picture that's inverted, not the buttons. So we'll change that back. Okay. So you can change the margins if you wish, if you think the margins are too thin or too fat or whatever. The justify thing is the default. Now, I think what justify means is sometimes there'll be a big gap between certain words because the word after it won't fit. I think it can look a bit weird, but you get used to it. It doesn't bother me. Hyphenation is probably, where you hyphenate half a word at the end of a margin. I think that's what that is. I don't use that personally. There's loads of other things you can mess around with in the reader section. Control section is where you can just change, which buttons control what, I guess. And then you have system, which, there's firmware updates, there's check for updates, device. I've not really messed with this one. That you got your sleep time, 10 minutes. There is a setting somewhere where you can change. There we go. So you can hide your battery percentage if you want. I liked seeing it. And then you can your refresh frequency. So this is how many pages until the device refreshes the e-ink, and it sort of goes all inverted and then back again. 15 is the default. I've left it at that. There's a sunlight fading fix, because I've heard some people that read out in the sun, because of the e-ink and just the nature of it, it can fade a little bit. That fixes it apparently. I've not really read it in the sun, but there is one option I really like, which is Bionic reading, and it's off by default. I turned it on. Apparently this is helpful for people with stuff like ADHD. It sort of puts in bold the start or a few letters of each word. So I'll just show you. I find it easier to read. I don't know if it's just a placebo, but forget this bold bit. This is all just part of the book. So for example here, you see how some of the wording's bold? It's called, what was it called? Bionic reading. Meant to help. I don't know. But I'm enjoying it. But the main thing about this, like I say, is I actually want to read more. Now, part of that is because the book's really good. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Highly recommended for a gamer. If you're watching this, you probably have. But it's just the fact that you can whip this out and just instantly be reading a book, and you're not browsing Reddit or Instagram or watching a reel of someone being an idiot online, losing your brain cells. You see, they're gone. You can actually just read a book that someone's put a lot of time and effort into writing. Now, where you source your EPUBs from, I'll leave that to you to find out. I know where I get mine from. Generally, it's good to do it the right way. We'll leave it there. And this is where I'm at with it, man. It's so good. I love it. $95, I think it was all in for all the peripherals. I think the device alone is $69. Converted to British pounds, it was about £71 and change with everything. And again, it came in just over a week. So I'm loving this device, and I want to know, I know this is a gaming page, but we love devices on this page, don't we? Have you seen this advertised anywhere, and have you been tempted? Or are you just a Kindle person? Maybe you just don't read. We should all read more, in my opinion. And I used to be an avid reader. I've got books on my bookshelf from years ago that I've read once and just never touched again. But I really love this thing. It was shipped really nicely. You get spare parts. I went a bit overboard. I got 2 screen protectors. I got all them extra things, and it already comes with 2 in the pack. So you don't really need them unless you're going to start potentially sticking it everywhere. But these, I guess, are good to have if you want MagSafe stuff. It's just not the strongest magnet in the world. But never mind. We'll forgive them that. But yeah, for 71 quid or 95-ish dollars, waiting a week for a device that's already got me 2.5 hours off my phone, you can't say fairer than that. If you like this video, let me know, I guess. Like the video. You know what I mean? Subscribe if you want. I'm going to hopefully make more content soon, gaming content. It's when I'm passionate about it, that's when I want to make a video. I don't want to be one of them that makes a video for the sake and I feel like I have to, which I've tried before and it just doesn't work. I bore myself to death. But this just got me thinking, do you know what? I want to share this with people because it's class. I love it. It's just amazing. I hope I feel like that in 3 months, and I hope I've read loads of books by then and I'm more learned than I am now. I'm Stu, the Yorkshire Retro Gamer / Tinkerer reader with my little pocket book. It's proper tiny, innit? Get the size of that, fits in my hand. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Let me know what content you want, and if you want to talk more about this in a few months, I'll give you an update. Just let me know. Cheerio.